Hi, this is Optimus Primal, and this is Silverbolt's Transformer Review.
Morning everybody, Silverbolt here, back for a Transformers review, going to be doing, as per the title page obviously. Ramhorn, Generation 1 Autobot Cassette Bot. Now, Ramhorn's personality profile depicts him as very, very bad-tempered. Not exactly that ironic, considering the fact that he's a rhino. Very, very violent, very quick to anger, and really does like just to destroy things and demolish things. Now, what the cartoon never really depicts as well with a lot of the cassettes is that they have abilities within cassette mode. Ramhorn's is that he gives off seismic vibrations. Again, seeing he's a rhino, that is kind of appropriate. But needless to say, you know, you wouldn't want to catch him on a bad day, despite the fact that he is only a, little cassette bot robot thing. And even though he actually going by even going by Transformers scale, Ramhorn is actually quite close in size to a rhino. So, you know, one of the few times where the Transformers scale for the cassette bots does actually make sense, despite the fact that he is, of course, a cassette. And though you don't see it in the cartoon, you can expect that he can mass shift, kind of like the way that Laserbeak does when Megatron tries taking the Earth and they enlist Burger to help them. Now, Ramhorn only first shows up in Season 3, and he's there as when Metroplex is being constructed. Ramhorn and Steeljaw are deployed by Blaster in an attempt to capture Ratbat, who of course is at this stage attempting to replace Laserbeak. Well, is what Marvel was saying. Ramhorn pops up quite fairly prolifically actually throughout Series 3. He's one of the Autobots that's accidentally sent back by the Quintesson Time Window, along with Blaster Blur and Wreck-Gar and all them. And he does show up, and he does. A lot of the cassettes seem to have their own individual functions. I mean, admittedly, in Season 1, the cassette bots were there pretty much just to bolster the numbers of the Decepticons, but during Season 3, especially with the Autobot ones, not so much with the Decepticon ones, the Autobot cassettes very much started to gain their own individual functions that seem to be actually more appropriately. So Ramhorn is used pretty much as a fighter, which is pretty much what he's supposed to do. When Daniel Witwicky, along with the apron-wearing Grimlock, was sent to Menomia, sounds like some kind of cancer, I don't know. Ramhorn goes back with them, and he fights alongside them. Really to show how pretty good friends that him and Steeljaw must be. Because he actually leaves a battle in order to help. There we go. Ramhorn, of course, is in one of the most famous of all the Season 3 episodes, The Call of the Primitives. And, funnily enough, he actually tries to avoid fighting in it. He tries to avoid Tornatron at all times. You'd expect him to charge forward regardless, but he actually doesn't. He actually shows some degree of common sense and tries to run away. He doesn't last very long, actually. Ramhorn is taken out by Tornadron. I believe it's Tornadron's tiger form, one of Tornadron's tiger forms, just before he takes out Steeljaw. And that's pretty much it. Doesn't do an awful lot in the cartoons. Does even less in the comics, funnily enough. In the Dreamwave continuity, he serves under Blaster as part of the last remaining Autobot force to free the other Autobots trying to stop the Decepticons. This, of course, is at the time when, in the Dreamwave continuity, where the Autobots are vastly, vastly losing the battle against the Decepticons. Ramhorn is one of a dwindling number of Autobots to never get renamed or become a different character in a different continuity. Mainly because his name is Ramhorn. It's up there with Ejector. So there we go. It has that, it has that acronym where it can be very quickly turned into an innuendo. Something I'm making it a point of pride to note in this video I so far haven't done. Huh. I must be growing up. No, I'm not. Anyway, that's Ramhorn's character bio and the way he shows up and faffs around and that. Onto his toy mode. He is, of course, an Autobot micro cassette designed to fit into Blaster. Like, he is very standard with all the cassettes in that he comes with attachable, I suppose, rocket pads, missile launchers, something or other, that you clip onto the side that can clip into either hole. Transforming him is he's quite simplistic. Simply pull the missile launcher pegs out and drop them all over the floor while you're at it, because that's always a good plan. And if you've watched the cartoon of seeing Ramhorn transform, you know how he transforms, because he literally, you just push the head in, push the tail in, and then just fiddle with the legs until you've been able to fold them up. Not exactly rocket science to transform him into a cassette mode. Now, the micro cassettes were very, very clever toys. They always were clever toys. I mean, they're actually one of my favourites, and I picked this up at Auto Assembly, and one of the things that I said when I was going to Auto Assembly was that I wanted a complete cassette collection. I think the only ones I'm now missing, apart from the combining cassettes, which are very, very hard to get a hold of, and very, very hard to they are hard to get a hold of, and you require significant amounts of cash, which I currently, at this moment in time, don't have. As you can see, I'm still using the same old webcam, and that's probably not going to change till after Christmas, because I'm supposed to be saving up for a holiday to Cambodia, because I'm going out there with Leo. So that will get its own video series if I get to go, and if I can find someone's video camera to borrow. So, which I think is very unlikely, but there we go. Anyway, where was I before I got sidetracked? That's it. Yes, I'm a big fan of all the cassettes. I always have been. I like the cassettes in some regards much more than I like. Well, certainly more than I like the Blaster toy. But the Soundwave one's just really, really clever. So I'm a big fan of the cassettes, and they have released them in these kind of like 4-packs. And there's 3 4-packs. There's one that's got the 4 Autobots in there, so Eject, Rewind, Steel Jaw, and Ramhorn, and then you've got the other 2, which are the Decepticon packs. Really just go to show you just how many main Autobot cassettes there were to Decepticon cassettes. But there we go. Your best bet of now, the cassettes are one of the few G1 toys that have never really shot up ridiculously in price. You'll pick up even a complete cassette. Usually very much so, minus any kind of clear plastic micro cassette casings. You'll pick them up fairly cheaply, even on places like eBay. You can, if you're in the UK, if you don't want to try, because most of these are going to come from America now, check Kapag, check Big D's Toy Store, so things like that. If you do like them, I am a big fan of them. I actually have, as I said, I think I now have all but 2. I think the only ones I don't have is Rewind, if I'm correct in thinking that Rewind is the one that does not come in the new Blaster reissue, and Buzzsaw. They're the only 2 I don't have. So, okay then, right then, I can't really think of anything else to sound Ramhorn, but needless to say that I would expect another cassette review to be coming along at some point. Another review that is going to be coming up quite shortly, as soon as Adam's got free time, will of course be the Explorer and Munitioner kits from Fans Project. That's definitely going to be coming up, but we're going to do what I did with the Superior add-on view, is I'm going to have, you know, my little take on it. You know, I'll probably have a little bit of a joke and go ooh a lot, and then Adam will do the really technical nitty-gritty stuff that I just seem never to be able to think of to do in my videos. So there we go. But for now, this is Silverbolt with Generation 1 Ramhorn signing off, saying au revoir, adios, auf Wiedersehen.